arguments that me and my dad had because, he, still didn't like me wrestling and was just like, well, if you're going to pursue it, then you need to be good at it, so it's like, okay, I'll try.
Yeah. Duh.
So, and then, I think a really cool moment too was when I retired, there was a article in, the Pro Wrestling Illustrated that covered my career and stuff. And he read that and he kind of just looked at me and was like, I didn't know you did all of that. Like, he's like, I know that you went and did stuff, but I didn't know that there was like so much more stuff that you accomplished. So that was a cool feeling.
There you go. At least you got the validation after the fact, that he was like, oh wow, I didn't know you did all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, your Wikipedia says that you trained in Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. When did you pick those up?
So, I pursued more Jiu-Jitsu than I did Muay Thai. But I didn't pursue that until I moved back here to California, and I just wasn't getting, like, the wrestling portion of wrestling, if that makes sense.
Right.
And, I wanted, like, I wanted it to look a little, like, I wanted myself to look more realistic, I guess you could say, with, like, my movements and stuff. And, the man who was training me at the time is Old School Oliver John. And he is a huge fan of, like, MMA and, like, pancrase and stuff. And so he also was, like, a huge factor in why I got into jiu-jitsu. So that was, like, I didn't get into that until probably, like, halfway through my first year of wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, what did you take do you still practice jiu-jitsu, I guess, is
I do not.
Okay.
Once I retired, I was like, well, bring on all the foods and snacks and the backlog of video games. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, how much of your jiu-jitsu did you bring into the pro wrestling world?
So, I'd probably say like more than 50 or 60% of it, because I was trying to be known for my suplexes, but then It just seemed like everything that I was doing in the ring, people were more noticing my grappling.
Okay.
And so I guess like I said, it was more than 50-60% of my stuff in the ring was grappling and stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that you're the suplex, what do they call you? You had so many different suplex. Yeah, you had the queen of
suplexes, Sacramento suplex machine. That was the Sacramento one is actually what Veda gave me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So all right, so you were trained on the East Coast and then you finished your training on the West Coast. When did you, or how did you get over to Japan?
Stardom was starting to do their U.S. tours, and they came to Southern California, and they were doing the show there, and I was asked if I could be a part of that show, and so I said, of course, like, I'm not going to say no.
Right.
Like, I get to wrestle girls that I only watch on YouTube in their matches, like Mayu Iwatani and stuff. Like, I was like, I want to freaking wrestle her and all these other girls. So I did that show, and I got to meet Rossi, and it just kind of went from there. A few months later, I got an email from their the guy who does like the English or the English portion of it, and it ended up going over there for 2 tours.
That's awesome. Now, what where all did you wrestle over there? Like, what buildings did you kind of step into and get like starstruck and be like, oh man, I can't believe I'm wrestling here?
I'd say the Tokyo Dome for sure.
Yeah.
Just because it's like you watch all of these great matches that happen there, and you're just like, it's almost kind of like wrestling in the Philadelphia building, the ECW arena, basically. You're just kind of like, I'm here. Like, it might not mean a lot to most people, but, when you grow up and you grow up watching that, and then, like, you're watching all of these people you want to, you're making a list of wanting to wrestle and stuff, and you're wrestling, at these places. It's like, wow, I'm here. I think honestly just everywhere in Japan I was just very taken back because I just wanted to go over there. Like, I love video games, I love anime, like I just love anything and everything Japanese culture, so like to be over there, in general, just wrestling there, like doing that, what I love, and then getting to see all the things that I love, like going to cafes and stuff, I was like, man, I didn't want to come back.
So, I guess whenever you won the Shimmer title for the first time, or the only time you did hold it, and you ended up having the longest reign in history, how did that feeling go? And then whenever you were through your reign, were you like, I can't believe I still have this. This is awesome. I guess when is this ride gonna end?
So when I first started wrestling, I had a list, right? Like I always tell you, like, write your goals down and you can like speak them into existence and manifest it. And so I never doing anything WWE related and stuff, like in Ring of Honor, was like nowhere near my list. Like I didn't even, at the time I think TNA was around too, and I was like, I don't care to go wrestle for them. I want to go wrestle for Shimmer. And I want to hold the titles over there because, like, Shimmer is like the best women's promotion, ever, right? And it's like all the top women from around the world go there. And you have all the top women holding these championships. So it's like a prestige behind, the title belts. So I was like, I want to hold the Shimmer title, right? And I never would have thought that I would have been the first ever Hardest Shimmer champion. And then I was like, wow, okay, well, I mean, I'll take this. This is awesome. But then to become a Shimmer champion, like, it was very emotional for me because it's just like all the stuff that I was been through and was going through in my personal life, and then like just the stuff that I worked so hard for, like on the wrestling side, and it was paying off. Like I was happy, like I looked back at that list and was like, wow, I accomplished this. And then like getting to defend that title overseas, it like that made me even more happier. And it was such a great feeling. Like I loved being Shimmer champion. Like it was the happiest moment in my wrestling career. Like every other place was happiest moment, but this by far, like I enjoyed being Shimmer champion.
Oh, I imagine, yeah. That's awesome. Now you go on from there, and then eventually you do end up in the Mae Young Classic. Where did that even, like, how did that get on your radar? Because like you said, WWE wasn't even on your list of things to do, and then you just, I guess, happen upon the Mae Young Classic.
So, backtracking from the time that they were recording the Mae Young Classic and like starting to round up everybody that they wanted in the tournament, I was injured. I actually tore my ACL at my WWE tryout first day. And and this was like at the time that I was the Hardest Shimmer champion. And so I was busting my ass and like working my ass off and stuff to come back, to wrestle, and at that time I was just thinking like, I just want to get back to like where I was like physically and mentally before I got injured and continued the shimmer thing. But I guess I was still on their minds from my tryout, and I got an email asking if I wanted to be a part of it and how far along I was in my recovery and would I be cleared in time. And I said, let me ask my physical therapist and my doctor. And my physical therapist, she was like, I mean, you're ready to come back to wrestling, but just don't do anything crazy to re-injure yourself. So, yeah, it was basically an email saying like, hey, I know you got hurt. Did you get that taken care of? And how far along are you in your recovery? And then I was able to make it in time for the Mayon Classic.
Man, what was that experience like for you?
I liked it. If it was my dream to be there, I guess I would be way more I was already excited because you're there. It's WWE,
right.
Yay, But for me, it was kind of like, okay, I'm here. I mean, this is just a bonus to what I wrote down on my list, and I'll just make the best of this opportunity that's presented itself for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it wasn't on your list, but, bonuses are always a good thing when it comes to dream things for your life.
Mhm. Like Shimmer in Japan were definitely on my list. That's
right.
I basically that and a few of the dream matches. There's 2 dream matches that I didn't get to have, but maybe in another lifetime. I don't know.
What dream matches did you not get under your belt?
So, I really, really wanted to wrestle Asuka, who was Kana at the time, in Shimmer. And, I just remembered Dave Prazak asking me, who would you like to work? And I was like, I really want to match with Kana. I think that would be awesome. And then she gets signed. And then, backtracking from that, I always wanted to wrestle Sarah Del Rey. I was still new when Sarah Del Rey was still around before she ended up being hired as the coach down in Florida. So I was like, well, it just wasn't in the stars, but it's okay.
Yeah, Sarah Del Rey is definitely one of my favorite wrestlers in general, whether it be man or woman. And she was, for a while she just, in my head, just disappeared. And I found out later that, she had taken that job down in the Performance Center. And I was like, wow, they are better for it because she is genuinely one of the greatest wrestlers that was out there at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She was amazing. I love her matches. I studied any Sarah Del Rey match I could possibly get my hands on.
Yeah, I remember having, this was back in the day where you actually had to buy wrestlers merch from their actual website. So I definitely bought a shirt for her back in the day, and I was like, she had to have, packed this herself. There's no way she has other people doing this. So I was happy on that end. But you did wrestle, some of the who's who as to women's wrestling now. Who were some of your favorite opponents when you were over there?
So some of my favorite opponents, I mean, it's really hard to say because everyone I wrestled, I had really fun matches with. AK is one of my favorites to wrestle just because we just have so much fun just going in there and wrestling. Just wrestling. We had a 10-minute match and did 8 minutes of grappling.
Wow.
So we were like, okay. Madison Eagles is one of my favorites. Lufisto will forever be one of my favorites to wrestle. Every match I've had with Lufisto, I've enjoyed it. like Mephisto pushes you to a whole new level. Like I honestly